Hi, I'm Ty, a grateful follower of Jesus Christ, and I am extremely nervous, so bear with me here. I believe that our testimony is more than just our our salvation story. That is God's glory story, His personal love story to us of pain and faith, sacrifice and restoration, written just for us to be a witness to what God can do when He gives ourselves to Him, when we give ourselves to Him. Revelation 12 says 12:11 says they triumph over him by the blood of the lamb and the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death, which is saying that we overcome the devil by the sacrifice Jesus made for us and our personal testimonies, which we give freely, boldly, and fearlessly, even though it isn't easy. So I am excited to be able to introduce my husband, who's given his testimony for the first time today. Devin Wheat.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Devin Wheat. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus. Without him, I wouldn't be here tonight. I want to start off by first giving a couple of definitions over some things that I'm going to discuss throughout my testimony. The first one is domestication. When we hear domestication, that we typically think of taming animals to be our pets or whatever. But as we're born, we are all domesticated to everything that's going on around us in our everyday life, whether it's from our parents, our community, the people we go to school with, churches, principals, family members. The second is distortions, and that's the action of giving a misleading or impression, which our domestications causes us to have distortions, which those end up affecting us in making wrong decisions later on in our lives, and makes it harder to move in the way that Jesus wants us to move. And the third is limited belief, and that's a thought or a perception about oneself or the world that holds you back from reaching your potential by creating self-imposed restrictions. And domestications and distortions will I got you, JJ, causes you to have limited beliefs when people speak down to you. They lower your self-esteem, or whether it's something that happens in your household that can cause you to have a poor self-esteem or something of that nature. I'm sorry. Then I want to start off with a verse that's really leads into my testimony, and that's Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And now I'm going to get started. Okay, so first, I was born to a teenage mother. She was 17 when she had me, so she was a kid raising a kid. And so there was a lot of that she knew about raising kids, because her childhood was rough, and that would be a story from a different time. And I didn't have a father because my father died when I was 4 months old. So there was no father in the picture. I had a 17-year-old mother who, as a teenager, liked to party, drink, smoke. So none of that changed just from having a child. So before I was ever able to make my own decision, just teething, I guess it was something they did back in the day, but I started getting liquor put in me at a young age. So therefore, I was introduced to liquor before I ever had any idea of what it is or what it could do to you. And then that continued going on through my toddler years, which then graduated to being shotgun with freaking marijuana smoke. And as they laughed, as I bounced off the walls because I was drunk and high. And then that went on for some years until I was a little older. Sorry. Then five, six, my mother played with Satanism. She would be doing seances in the middle of the living room floor with me sitting there, which then introduced me to demonic beings unknowingly. I thought it was a game. I didn't know what was truly going on. I've watched her, what she believes is buying souls from other people, so I never believed that a soul really meant anything. It was something that somebody could just give away for a price, which that caused issues in itself, causing me to have, it didn't cause me to have anger issues. The elements that I lived in, the stuff that I went through caused me to have rage, have anger issues, to live a double life, because I would go through one thing at home and then I didn't want anybody else to know what I was going through at home. So the only people that I felt loved me or cared for me during that time was my grandparents and my aunt, which my aunt was a tainted love because she was the one that was giving me alcohol and getting me high as a toddler. But I thought that's what love was because that's what I received in my early years. So anytime my mom would get upset with any of them, she would remove them from my life, or my grandparents would move out of state for years and months at a time, which then caused abandonment issues, which there's where a distortion comes in, because now anytime anybody says that they're leaving or if they have a problem with me, I think they're going to automatically leave. So it's hard to be open or give love the way it's supposed to be given, because I think they're going to leave anyway. And so at 6, I discovered porn. It was by accident. I didn't know what it was, but it was under a guy's that I considered my dad. It was in his bathroom. Me and my older brother found it, and then we found his movies, and it just seemed to be like an everyday thing to watch it. And so at 6 years old, my vision of what women were was already distorted, of how they should be treated or whatever, because porn does not give you a good vision of women. Also during that time, I was molested during that time, which nobody knows except for my wife. But now all of y'all know, and whoever's watching, which then created untrust in everyone, which I'm sorry, but shortly after that, my mom was told by my grandfather that no one would ever marry her because she had kids. So out of spite, a mother decided she was just gonna up and leave and marry some dude, just some random dude. To come find out, he was an alcoholic, and thank you. He was an alcoholic, and he liked to abuse people. So me and my little brother, every day by a drunken man, got beat every single freaking day just because of our existence. And I seen that guy rape my mother in front of me, which then adds what? Another distortion of how men treat women. So through all this, I'm getting bad example after bad example after bad example on how women or females should be treated. By 13, I joined the gang and started selling drugs. Started drinking and smoking myself because that's what all the kids back in that age, right? That's what we did because we thought it was cool, and we liked to party. But that was a domestication that I got from growing up because my mom was always having parties, so there was always smoking and drinking, loud music. That was every weekend. I saw that. I was in the midst of it. I thought that's what life was. That's what we did on the weekends. I've been shot at a couple of times. Once by my brother and my stepdad. They, whether they did it on purpose or not, they still hit me. And that was a point in my life that I knew God. I knew who God was, but I didn't know God. But I knew that there had to be someone there watching over me to keep me alive, basically, because I shouldn't have been in those multiple times. My 18th birthday, I went to jail, which was a blessing and a curse all at the same time. It was a blessing because it got me out of where I had to go, where I was at, and the path I was going down. I had the choice to go to the military, and that's what I took, which got me away from the little small town of Rector, which I would have been nowhere good if I would have stayed there, I'm sure. The military also gave me my beautiful queen. And then, so I met her, which was a godsend. When we met, we had an awesome little spark that we believe was God, without a doubt. And though we weren't living in a godly way, shortly after we got together, we decided on separate occasions, like she was thinking one thing, I was thinking one thing, and it matched up. We decided that we were going to start going to church. We felt God was calling us to go to church and do things right. And during this time, we were homeless over me doing the things that I do, as in still smoking and not being able to keep a job or even have a job to pay the bills. And it's just, God has gradually made things better but I'm hard-headed, and I've got to learn things multiple times over and over, kind of like the Hebrews on their journey to the Promised Land. Should have only been like 2 weeks, and it took them 40 years to get there because they were hard-headed. Well, I'm the same way. I got to get hit in the head a few times before I fully get it. But no, so we get married. Everything is good for a while, but I have those distortions. I have those abandonment issues, those domestications. So though she was there with me, she was always by my side, but it wasn't enough. And so I cheated on her. And I've done it multiple times, and I lied about it over and over and over again. So those lies have not only destroyed my life, but it destroyed her. It broke her because I was broken. And so not only am I broken, I've broken her. I've broken my kids in ways that I've done to them the same thing that my mother and my family did to me. Though I've always been there, but mentally, I was never there. I would come home, I would be in my own world while they wanted to play, or they wanted to talk, or they wanted to do this or that. I would be in my head or doing my thing and causing the same distortions and the same domestications that I got when I was growing up. Now I'm affecting my kids with that. So within that, God has been teaching me valuable lessons on how to control my anger. And again, it took me many years to figure that out, and realizing that with anger, when someone makes you angry, they control you. You have no control over yourself. They treat you like a puppet because they know what buttons to push. They know what strings to pull to get you to act just any way that they want you to act. So conquering anger, it took me a lot of years, but 5 months in on not losing my temper, not being able to just allow that to happen. Thank you. And that was thanks to God and materials that He has put in my path. And there's still things that I struggle with to this day. I don't struggle with lust as much as I used to, which is a wind in its own. And I didn't just lust over women. I lusted over money or whatever was next, the next bigger thing. And so I'm good with what I have now. And God will bless me with more when I do right with what I have. So now, deeply I've been on my journey with God I've been on and off my journey with God for 17 years. But this time back, it's been, 3 years strong, without any wavering, moving forward every single day that I find a way to try to better myself. I still have weaknesses. I still have a problem, or let me not say a problem. I'm still scared to fully give my heart, which still taints my marriage, really, because I can't fully love the way she deserves to be loved. And but I'm working on it daily. I'm trying to find better ways of understanding love and being able to give her love the way that she deserves to be loved. And so I want, with that, I would say continue to find ways to grow every single day. Don't ever say that you're not enough. And I want to end off my testimony with another verse, and that would be Philippians 1:6. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus.